So you're hearing a lot about GPT, and I'm curious as to what it really will take over. I'm having a guess that history, social sciences, those will be fading away, and um, the things that need real insight or calculations will still be viable. But let's take a look at studying history alone with ChatGPT. So here, let's start with the question, when did Spain control Portugal? Write me 2 paragraphs about the time, whoops, so write me 2 paragraphs about the time when Spain controlled Portugal. Now, generally, history would be a subject taught in consecutive order in a book, but ChatGPT may allow you to access history on a timeline that interests you the most. So here we have an interest. When did Spain control Portugal? We see here that the Iberian Union was a period in history when Spain and Portugal were united under the rule of the Spanish monarchy. So the union began in 1580 when King Philip II of Spain became the King of Portugal. And we can say, how did Portugal get its independence from Spain in 1640? Oops, misspelled it. Portugal regained its independence from Spain in 1640 through a revolution known as the Portuguese Restoration War. The war was sparked by the discontent among the Portuguese nobility and people with the Spanish rule, and the negative impact it had on the Portuguese economy and autonomy. Are there any interesting stories about the Restoration War? Yes, in fact, there are several interesting stories surrounding the Portuguese Restoration War. One of the most notable is the story of Don Felipe de Vilhena, a noblewoman who played a key role in the revolution. She is said to have been a leader among the Spanish women of Lisbon and used her influence to rally support for the rebellion against Spanish rule. She is remembered as a symbol of bravery and resistance in the Portuguese history. Write 2-page essay on the life of Dona Felipa de Vilhena. Dona Felipe de Vilhena, also known as Felipe de Lancastre, was a noblewoman who played a significant role in the Portuguese Restoration War, which saw Portugal regain its independence from Spain in 1640. She is remembered as a symbol of bravery and resistance in Portuguese history and is celebrated for her contributions in the independence movement. It would be very interesting to know if this was in fact information that was found in a college history book about the history of Portugal or the history of Spain. This information here definitely seems to be very interesting. Who were Dona Felipa de Vilhena's parents? So there's not much known about her parents. Are there theories about who parents are? Ooh, ChatGPT. I am not aware of any widely accepted theories. So fascinating that ChatGPT says I am not aware. So, what is found in text, in college textbooks about college textbooks may contain varying amounts of information about Dona Felipe de Vilhena, depending on the focus and scope of the textbook. In general, however, she is often mentioned in the context of Portuguese Restoration War. In general, college textbooks provide a basic understanding of Dona Filipa in the war and her importance as a symbol of bravery and resistance. However, given the limited information that is available about her, textbooks may not provide a comprehensive picture of her life, of the details of her background. So, one thing that seems obvious is someone who has a deep love for history. Certainly, ChatGPT speaks more specifically to what they might be interested in. Now, where was that date? 1640. Who was king of Portugal in? Clearly, I cannot spell. So, who was a king of Portugal and Spain in 1640? In 1640, the king of Portugal in Spain was King Philippe the Third of Portugal, also known as Philippe the Fourth of Spain. Philip III was a member of the Spanish Habsburg dynasty and was the king of Portugal from 1598 to 1621. During this time, Portugal was ruled as part of the Spanish Empire. Philip III was the reigning monarch in both Portugal and Spain. Well, I guess we wanted to know who was the king of Portugal in, let's say 1645 then. 1645, the king of Portugal was John the Fourth of Portugal, also known as John the Fourth of Braganza. He was the first king of the House of Braganza and reigned from 1640 until his death in 1656. That's only 16 years. John IV came to the throne as a result of the Portuguese Restoration War, which saw Portugal regain its independence from Spain in 1640 after 60 years of Habsburg rule. So I don't really know what this is. What is Braganza in respect to Portugal? The House of Braganza is a Portuguese noble family that played a significant role in the history of Portugal. It was founded in the late 14th century and rose to prominence over the centuries, becoming one of the most influential families in the country. All right, well, that makes perfect sense. Today, the House of Braganza continues to exist, and its members remain prominent figures of Portuguese society. So if we go back, where was it talking about the Habsburgs? Now, I think that is tied in with Germany and Austria, but I don't really remember in 1640 how much of Europe was controlled by the Habsburgs. Europe. What? Try again. Try again. Try again. Guess we'll, unfortunately, it allows us to save that. Let's start over again. In 1640, the Habsburg dynasty controlled much of Central and Eastern Europe, including the Holy Roman Empire, which comprised much of present-day Germany and Austria, as well as territories in present-day Italy, the Netherlands, Belgium, and parts of modern-day France. Well, write a one-page essay on the relationship to the So I need one-page essay. The Habsburg dynasty relationship with Portugal in 1640 was a complex one, shaped by political, economic, and religious factors. At the time, Portugal was a leading colonial power with a vast empire that included territories in South America, Africa, and Asia. The Habsburgs, meanwhile, were one of the dominant powers in Europe, controlling much of Central and Eastern Europe, as well as territories in Italy, the Netherlands, and parts of modern-day France, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Slovenia, Croatia, and Hungary. In conclusion, the relationship between the Habsburg dynasty and Portugal in 1640 was a complex one, shaped by a mix of cooperation and competition. The Habsburgs were keen to tap into Portugal's wealth and expertise, while also seeking to assert their dominance and prevent Portugal from becoming too powerful. Nevertheless, the two powers continued to cooperate in areas of mutual interest, and the relationship helped to shape the political, economic, and cultural landscape of Europe in the 17th century. So, what if I ultimately, though, need to know what is how about, don't ask questions, tell it to do something. Write an outline for a one-page essay, a one-page historical essay on, let's just See what it gives us was the same factors here. Portugal. Introduction. A brief overview, a thesis statement, cooperation, competition, whoa. I'm thinking we're into about 10 pages now, ChatGPT. But wow. So when asking for an outline, it looks like it gave me a 1-page outline when really I just wanted an outline for a 1-page, which I guess, let's be right, an outline. See if it gives us something different, right? Can't imagine that changes anything. Let's see what happens. Write an outline for a 1-page. See what we have. This a brief history, AB. Didn't really change anything, did it? So what we had here, conflict, conclusion. Huh. Well, as you can see, studying history through ChatGPT could definitely make it more interesting, more engaging, and more specific to what my desires are. The only thing is, what would write an outline of what a college history class would teach me about 1640 Portugal and so as a substitute to taking a history class on this and then going in the wrong direction with my own interest and desires, looks like ChatGPT could at least keep me on the right roadmap to mainstream historical or history lessons. Introduction to 1640 Portugal, the Empire, politics, colonial power, the Restoration War. What did I call it? Yep. The revolt, major battles. Seems to make sense. I don't know. If I was a social scientist, certainly a history professor, be very concerned right now. I mean, maybe you're a research professor, but not an instructional professor.